Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from not the Commander's Quarters studio today, and yeah, I'm just testing some new things out. Got a new microphone that connects to the camera, so I don't have to haul a ton of things like I have in the past if I'm recording on the road. So just testing things out today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what your thoughts are on this to make sure it's still, high enough quality, sound-wise, picture-wise. I'm using a different camera too, my travel camera as well. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, but just wanted to kind of do a quick fun episode. I really like doing these kinds of episodes, these kind of like guessing game episodes, and seems like many of you enjoyed, at least you enjoyed the last one on the swords. So on this episode from Morrow's teasers, the line, I believe, was kind of, like that teaser. I did an entire episode on it, but with, like the little text from certain cards that are going to be in the upcoming set, this time the Lord of the Rings. One of them was, whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. Now, I don't know about you, but I definitely thought that it was the Watcher in the Water, and I'm pretty positive on that. I can't think of what else it could be from Lord of the Rings, so let me know in the comments if you think I'm wrong on this, but I decided to do an entire card around this, kind of this guessing game of, am I getting this right? How close am I to this card? So we shall see. I was actually pretty close on the sword last time we did it, I think in March of the Machine or whatever it was. But yeah, I was pretty close. I think I got like half of it right. So we'll see how close I get on this one. So let's jump into it though with the Watcher in the Water. And hopefully I edit all this properly so you can see things properly. So future Mitch, make sure you're doing it right. And also my dog's wandering around here, so if he is showing up at some point, my apologies for that. Anyways, a 5/7 Kraken with Menace in Ward 2, costing 2 blue, black. So, Demir, whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token. So again, that is the text that we have gotten from Wizards, from Morrow, on like the teaser. Like, this is going to be on a card. Again, doesn't specify this card, but I would imagine it would be the Watcher in the Water. I can't think of what else it would be. On top of that, whenever an opponent draws a card on your turn, they lose 1 life. So I decided to kind of put a little twist on it. Like, Morrow did give us, the text on the card, or at least, part of the text on the card. I kind of think that because, that is just like, one of the pieces of text, I think that there'd be the opposite side of it, essentially. And so I kind of want to create, this dichotomy where, hey, you get a benefit from drawing a card in your opponent's turns, and you also punish your opponents when they draw a card on your turn as well. So yeah, there's kind of this like give and take with it where, yeah, if you're going to start casting, I mean, this kind of commander obviously leans towards wheels. If you're going to be casting wheels, you get a certain benefit on opponent's turns when you do that. Again, casting a wheel, you could create an absurd amount of tentacle creature tokens out of nowhere on an opponent's turn if you cast a wheel on their turn. And then also on, on your turn, if your opponents are drawing cards, they're going to be losing life. And so again, if they're drawing cards based on their turn, if they, cast a Blue Sun Zenith on your turn, there's a punishment for that. And then also, of course, if you wheel on your turn, you also punish your opponents too. Now, again, I did say this is kind of pretty powerful on that episode, just like this effect in general is pretty powerful, making an absurd amount of tokens. It's like Xyrus, kind of, essentially, when it comes to, being able to wheel, being able to make an absurd amount of tokens, and, yeah, now also being able to punish opponents kind of with that drain. So maybe I undercosted this commander a little bit. 6 is a decent amount for a commander, but not the most that we've ever seen on an effective commander. I also decided to throw on Menace, because it is quite the menacing creature, very scary, obviously, in the movie. And then Ward 2 as well. I think Wizards just starts throwing Ward on things, especially when it comes to blue things. So, yeah, they're like, hey, we solved Hexproof. It's like, yeah, but you're kind of overdoing Ward, in my opinion. So I can imagine that they throw Ward 2 on this, even though I don't believe that would actually need it. Again, you are in blue-black. You've got plenty of ways to protect this. So, I mean, whether that's, a counterspell, whether that's giving it Hexproof, whether that's, like a Feign Death type effect to bring it back. So you got those as well. Again, this is just my design for what I think the Watcher in the Water will be. I mean, the Watcher in the Water very well might not even be in the set. It might be a completely different thing that's making tentacle creature tokens, though I'm not sure exactly what that would be, so I could be very wrong on that. But I'd love to hear from you. Again, comment below your thoughts on what this one might be. Yeah, give me your thoughts on that. Give me your thoughts again on the sound quality. Give me your thoughts on, the picture, all that kind of stuff too, again, because this is a different weird setup, and actually I forgot my tripod, so it's on some kind of a weird stand right now too, but making it work. That being said, kind of like my quick takes, I do want to go through, what kinds of cards might work well with this type of a commander, because again, we do know that first line of text is going to be on a card, and it is probably going to be a legendary creature, I would assume, as well. So if this is somewhat close to the kind of commander that, you know, might be showing up in this set, you know, you might want to be prepared for what kinds of cards might work well with that one. So let's jump into those right now again on these episodes, or actually on quick takes. I start off with the budget buys and the pricier picks. The budget buys are going to be less than $1 within my budget. The pricier picks are going to be outside of my budget, again, more than $1, but they might be within your budget. There we go. So first up, let's start with the budget buys, and we're going to start off with Tolarian Winds. Again, like I said, wheels are going to be very good with this commander. For 1 in a blue, an instant, you can discard your hand and draw that many cards. So basically, hey, wait till your opponent's turn, do this. You're going to be drawing probably, what, 6? Because if you've got a full grip, let's assume that you do. You cast this on opponent's turn, you're discarding the other 6 cards in your hand, you're drawing 6, you're making 6 tentacle creature tokens, right, on opponent's turn, outside of, you know, also, you know, doing that. And of course, there's other ways to make even more you know, get even more cards out of this. There's ways to get even more effects out of, you know, drawing cards. We'll talk about some of those here in a bit. But yeah, wheeling on your opponent's turns, of course, can give you a benefit from that side. Next up, we've got Midnight Clock, yet another wheel type effect, and this one's a fantastic one on a mana rock. It's not very efficient in mana rock, again, just tapping for a single mana for 3. But yeah, I mean, this one does obviously have some other utility to it. Basically, once this gets 12-hour counters on it, and it gets one on every single upkeep, not just your own, and you can pay to put it on it as well, then you get to essentially Time Twister. You get to, you know, shuffle your hand and graveyard in your library and draw 7 cards. So by doing that, of course, you prevent yourself from milling, which is lovely. You reset your hand, which is awesome. And then, of course, if you're doing it on an opponent's turn, yeah, you get to also make, you know, tentacle creature tokens. So there you go. Moving on, Forgotten Creation. This one as well, again, if you are kind of having other effects in this deck where you are benefiting from you're actually benefiting from drawing cards, you're benefiting from discarding cards potentially. This one won't trigger your commander, but keep in mind that, I mean, this is just another great additional way to kind of dig through your deck. It's another great additional way to get extra advantage out of certain cards. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard all the cards in your hand if you do draw that many cards. So keep that in mind. Again, like when wheeling kind of benefits you essentially, and what you can benefit from. So again, just another kind of free wheel effect once you have this in play. The Skulk is nice too and kind of weird, but yeah, just being able to actually get extra benefits from that. Next up, though, Whispering Madness. This one is a wheel for everyone. Each player discards their hand, then draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discarded this way. So it's basically like a windfall, but this one is repeatable because it has Cipher. So essentially, when you cast it, you can exile and attach it to one of your creatures. Whenever that creature is combined to a player, you can cast a copy of that card, essentially. So you can just keep casting Whispering Madness again and again and again throughout the game. Again, your commander does have Menace that is not, you know, perfect evasion, but it can get through. You know, if your opponent only has one blocker or isn't willing to block with certain blockers. So there you go. And again, being able to wheel on your turn and having everyone wheel, you're not going to be making any tentacle creature tokens, but you are going to be able to drain your opponents again if that is, you know, something like the other side of this commander. Again, if that is the actual one. Again, with my design, that's how this would work. So yeah, being able to, you know, drain your opponents, you know, if they're all drawing 7, they're each draining 7, that can be fantastic. Moving on. I kind of referenced this a little bit earlier, Thought Reflection. It's a fantastic card for commanders like this. It says if you draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. So just doubling up every single one of your card draws, that is great. It is 7 mana, but is well worth it. And hey, now if you're wheeling on your opponent's turns, again, let's say that Tolarian Winds example, drawing 6 is now drawing 12. You are netting a lot of cards with that. You're making a lot of tentacle creature tokens. So yeah, this is a great way to really take advantage of all of your wheels. So again, instead of, you know, with certain wheels that just kind of replace your hand, you're doing that and then some, which is absolutely crazy. Moving on, of course, you could go more Sea Monster Tribal with this if you want, or just, you know, other ways to really take advantage of drawing cards, like Chasm Skulker. Whenever you draw a card, you get a +1 counter on it, and then whenever it dies, you get X/1/1 squids that have Island Walk. So basically, make this into a monstrous creature, and then when it dies, cool, you just get a ton of little 1/1s, which is just great. So again, more like little tentacles, essentially, but this time it's squids and they have Island Walk, so that's great. Next up, though, we've got Nadir Crack, and this one is kind of similar to what this actual effect is. Whenever you draw a card, you can pay 1. If you do, you get a counter on this, and you create a tentacle. So this one's specific to when you're drawing cards, you have to pay mana to do so, but again, you can make this thing pretty massive throughout the game and make a massive army with it. Again, if you are going, you know, Sea Monster Tribal, again, this probably is going to be, in my opinion, like some kind of a Kraken, essentially. So, yeah, this card can definitely fit in Sea Monster Tribal decks, or the new commander, you know, Watcher in the Water. But also, it could, you know, if you want to go Sea Monster Tribal with it, definitely include some more of these. And these, of course, you know, the draw effects can be included just in the deck as it is. Next up, Underworld Dreams. If you are going to be utilizing wheels, again, punish your opponents for drawing their cards. Underworld Dream says, when an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dream deals 1 damage to that player. There's a lot of other effects like this. I mean, the new Shield Rid is pretty gross too, so obviously that's an incredibly expensive card, not the budget buy. I think it's like $70 or so right now. But yeah, being able to punish your opponents for drawing cards is a very powerful thing, especially in a wheels deck. Then we've got, of course, Psychosis Crawler, which kind of inspired that second part, obviously. Whenever you draw a card, your opponent loses 1 life. So your opponents are going to get drained no matter when you are wheeling, no matter when you are drawing those cards. I mean, obviously they get drained when they're drawing cards with this new commander, concept, but now they're also getting drained whenever you're drawing cards. So whenever you're wheeling, you're punishing them no matter what. Kind of like punishing them twice as much now. Like, let's say you, again, Whispering Madness, everyone draws 7. They each lose 7 from them drawing cards, and then they also lose 7 from you drawing 7. So that's 14 for just wheeling once. And again, you've got a lot of repeatable wheels. You've got a lot of ways to draw even more cards than that. You've got a lot of ways to wheel even bigger than that. Have fun. And speaking of fun, though, let's move on to the pricier picks. Again, cards that are outside of my budget, but might be within yours. Cards that are more than $1. First up, we've got Jace's Archivist. This is a fantastic repeatable wheel effect that you can do whenever you want. Pay a blue, tap, each player discards their hand and draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards that player discard this way. Basically windfall, but again, whenever you want for just 1 mana, repeatable. So again, if you want to drain your opponents on your turn with this commander, do it on your turn. Essentially, say, okay, what's the highest again? 7, cool. Everyone discard your hand, draw 7 cards, you all lose 7 in life. Can be a great way to take players out. On top of that, if you'd rather be like, no, I'd rather do it, right before my turn maybe, so that my opponents don't get to really utilize their new hands, cool. Do that, right before their turn for a single mana, keep that mana up. Do it. Everyone draws 7. You might not be draining your opponents with that, but you're going to be making those tentacles. And yeah, again, of course, there's even more ways to take advantage of that too. If you've got tentacles in play, you can also utilize things like Zulport Cutthroat to drain your opponents when those tentacles die and that stuff. Moving on, we've got Rhystic Study. Yeah, this card's well outside of my budget, around $40. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you may draw a card unless they pay 1. Yeah, 1, it might not seem like a lot, but that is a lot. It adds up a lot throughout the game, and opponents are really unwilling to get taxed that amount because, and at a certain point, they really can't pay it anyways. Because again, if you wheel, everyone draws 7. They definitely probably don't have 7 mana available to ensure that they're not giving you free cards. So keep that in mind. And again, when they're playing spells on their turn and they don't pay the extra, you are going to be drawing those cards on their turn, making those tentacles. There you go. Next up, Psychic Possession. This one's a hilarious card. It used to be budget friendly a long time ago. Enchant opponent, skip your draw step. Whenever enchant opponent draws a card, you may draw a card. So basically, now your wheels are pretty crazy. So you don't draw a card on your turn. You skip your draw. I mean, you can draw other cards though, obviously. But whenever an opponent draws a card, you can draw with them. So when you are wheeling, you are getting an absurd amount of value, drawing even more cards again. Let's say you, again, utilize Jace's Archivist on an opponent's turn. Everyone draws 7. Okay, so you're discarding your hand, that opponent's discarding their hand, everyone draws 7. But since that opponent drew 7, you are now drawing an extra 7, so you draw 14. Again, making 14 tentacles. If you've got Psychosis Crawler in play, draining your opponent's 14. This can really add up and do some pretty crazy things. On top of, if they cast any draw spells on their own, you're taking advantage of that too. Next up, we've got Wheel and Deal, which is a very interesting one. Any number of target opponents each discards their hand and draws 7 cards. Draw a card. It's a very strange card. It's kind of like forcing your opponents to wheel, but you don't. So you get to draw 1, which is nice, so this replaces itself. But yeah, you were going to be like, okay, it's my turn. All right, all of you are going to draw 7. So you can drain your opponents with this, again, with that kind of second effect. Moving on, Yawgmoth 3 in position. This one kind of goes infinite-ish. I mean, with a slight restriction to it. Pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature. You get a -1 get up to 1 target creature, draw a card. You can also discard cards proliferate too by paying black. But yeah, being able to say, okay, I mean, it's your opponent's turn, right? You, sacrifice a creature. You sacrifice one of your tentacles. Cool. Do that. Pay 1 life, get a -1 to counter another creature, which is great. So you can start taking your opponent's creatures out, and then you draw a card, which of course is on the opponent's turn. So then you make another 1/1, and then you do it again, and again, and again. Your only limitation here is going to be, obviously, your life total. And I guess where you can put those -1 counters, but you could, I guess, also put them on some of your own creatures if you really need to at a certain point. Yeah, definitely an interesting, combination, one that can be pretty absurd. And again, if you've got like a Psychosis Crawler in play, it could just be game over if you are able to, kind of pull that off. So pretty crazy. Moving on, obviously, for another draw spell during your turn, Windfall is a great one that has nearly never been budget friendly for me. Each player discards their hand and draws cards equal to the greatest number of cards a player discard this way. So Jace's Archivist, Whispering Madness type effect, basically. But I think this was the OG type effect. So again, when your opponents are drawing cards on your turn, they would be drained for that. And then whenever I bring up Thought Reflection, I really need to bring up Teferi's Edge Insight, basically the exact same thing, except it doesn't include basically the draw step draw, so you double up every single one of your draws other than that one, which again is fantastic. It's a great way to really take advantage of wheels and take advantage of the extra benefits of your wheels from other cards as well, including your commander. And then finally, Wound Reflection. Another one of the reflections, this one very good. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life they lost this turn. So again, with your commander's drain effect, with, Psychosis Crawler, you can double up on that life loss for all your opponents. It can be pretty crazy. And again, if you've got other effects like a Shieldred in there as well, which I probably should have brought up in this as well, pretty crazy indeed. So yeah, again, this is just my thought for what I think the Watcher in the Water could be. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Is this even the actual kind of card that it lines up to? Is, this effect going to be on a legendary creature? Is it going to be on the Watcher in the Water? I really can't see what else it would really be on. So that's just my thoughts. Is it actually going to have any other text on it? What colors do you think it's going to be? What do you think the actual full card is going to be? Am I close? So I guess only time will tell. We shall see next week, unless it gets leaked before then, all the stuff going on lately. But yeah, also, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this episode. Does it still look okay? Does it still sound okay? Again, try my best here on the road with certain things. I just thought I'd test some stuff out for a fun episode. So yeah, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one.
This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.